Aaron Rodgers has missed every single deadline the Steelers set for him this offseason. First, it was 30 days after the season, then free agency, then the draft. He missed all three, so Pittsburgh pulled out a contract move so rare that no NFL team had used it in 4 years. And now there is one date left on the calendar that changes everything. Let's start with what this move actually is, because most NFL fans have never seen it before, and probably never will again. The Pittsburgh Steelers placed a right of first refusal tender on Aaron Rodgers. That sounds complicated, but it is actually pretty simple once you break it down. It means Pittsburgh has formally offered Rodgers a 1-year contract worth roughly $15 million, which is a 10% raise from the $13.65 million he made with the Steelers in 2025. Rodgers can sign that deal whenever he wants. But here is the part that matters most. If another team comes in and offers Rodgers more money, the Steelers have the right to match that offer and bring him back anyway. So no matter what Rodgers does, no matter what team calls him, Pittsburgh gets to see every offer on the table and decide whether they want to keep him. And if Rodgers signs with another team, for $15 million, the Steelers would receive approximately a 4th-round compensatory pick in 2027. They cannot lose in this arrangement. But here is the question nobody is fully answering yet. Why did they have to do this at all? Why is Aaron Rodgers, one of the most decorated quarterbacks in NFL history, still unsigned at the end of April, while the rest of the league has already moved on from free agency and just finished the draft? To answer that, you need to understand the timeline of this offseason and how many times Rodgers has left Pittsburgh waiting. When the Steelers' 2025 season ended, the team reportedly expected Rodgers to give them an answer about his future within 30 days. That window came and went. No answer. Then the calendar flipped to free agency, and the expectation shifted. Surely he would let them know before free agency got underway, because other teams needed to make plans too. Agency opened. Still no answer from Rodgers. Then the NFL draft became the next marker. The thinking was that Rodgers would decide before Pittsburgh had to go on the clock and start making roster decisions. The draft came. The draft went. Still no answer. 3 deadlines. 3 misses. And Aaron Rodgers has not said a single public word about what he plans to do. Now remember that rare contract move we talked about at the top. Keep that in mind, because there is a layer to it that most people are not talking about. The last time any NFL team used this exact tender was 2022. The Baltimore Ravens placed it on Justin Houston. The Kansas City Chiefs used it on Melvin Ingram. Both of those were veteran players at the end of their careers in situations where teams wanted control but were not ready to fully commit. Pittsburgh just used the same tool on a 4-time NFL MVP who spent most of his career being one of the 5 best quarterbacks on the planet. That is how strange this situation has gotten. And it gets stranger. While all of this has been happening with Rodgers, while Pittsburgh has been sitting and waiting for a 42-year-old to tell them whether he wants to play football again, the Steelers went out in the 3rd round of the 2026 NFL Draft and selected Penn State quarterback Drew Aller, the 76th overall pick. Think about that for a second. The Steelers used a 3rd-round pick on a quarterback, while their current starting quarterback has not even told them he is coming back. That is not something teams do when they are fully confident in their veteran. That is something teams do when they need a backup, or when they are starting to wonder if the plan they have been waiting on is actually going to show up. Now here is the cliffhanger. Pittsburgh said publicly that drafting Aller had no impact on how they feel about Rodgers returning. General Manager Omar Khan said the team continues to have positive discussions with the quarterback. Reporters covering the team are saying nothing has changed between the two sides. On the surface, everything sounds fine, but underneath that, there is a very different story starting to form. Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio reported that Aaron Rodgers is not happy about the tender being placed on him. Let that land for a moment. The Steelers made a contract move specifically designed to protect themselves and keep Rodgers from walking away cleanly and the response from Rodgers' side is that he does not like it. Some analysts are now suggesting that the Steelers placed this tender partly to send Rodgers a message. That message being, we are not going to wait forever. And if you leave, we are going to get something back for it. That is a very different energy than what Pittsburgh was putting out just a few weeks ago. Now let's talk about why the Steelers are this desperate to keep him, because that part of the story is just as important as the contract drama. Pittsburgh has not won a playoff game in 10 years. 10 years. The Steelers, one of the most successful franchises in NFL history, have gone a full decade without winning in the postseason. And in that entire stretch, the quarterback position has been the single biggest issue holding them back. They spent years with players that were fine, but not special. They tried Justin Fields in 2024. Nothing worked at that level. Last season, Rodgers came in and at least stabilized the position. He made $13.65 million. He played behind an excellent defense that can make almost any quarterback look better than they are. The Steelers went to the playoffs. They lost in the wild card round to the Houston Texans. But they were there. That is what this is really about. The Steelers do not need Aaron Rodgers to be the Aaron Rodgers of 2011. They do not need him to throw 45 touchdowns. They have one of the best defenses in the league. They just need a quarterback who can manage a game, protect the ball, and make smart decisions when it matters. And at $15 million, Rodgers is about the cheapest legitimate starting quarterback option available anywhere in the NFL right now. That is why they are waiting. That is why they place this rare tender instead of just moving on. Because the math still works in their favor, even with all the frustration. But here is where you need to stay with me. Because the deadline situation is about to become very real very fast. If Rodgers does not sign with any team before July 22nd, or the first day of Pittsburgh's training camp, whichever comes first, the Steelers gain exclusive negotiating rights. That means no other team can sign him directly. If he wants to return to football, at that point, with a different franchise, Pittsburgh would have to sign him and then trade him. In other words, after July 22nd, Aaron Rodgers either plays for the Steelers or he does not play at all. Now, here is what the people closest to the situation are actually saying. Reporter Mark Kaboly, who covers the team for the Pat McAfee show, has said people within the Steelers believe Rodgers will make his decision before OTA workouts begin on May 18. That is less than 3 weeks away. And if he signs before May 18, he would be present for all 8 sessions of organized team activities, which is important for a quarterback who would be working with a new head coach first time. That new head coach is Mike McCarthy. McCarthy is coming in with his own system, his own expectations, his own way of doing things. A quarterback who shows up at training camp in late July without any spring reps is at a significant disadvantage. For an older quarterback who needs timing work and chemistry building with receivers, missing OTAs is not ideal. So the pressure is not just contractual, it is practical. Every day Rodgers waits is a day his new coaching staff is building without him. Drew Allar is in the building. Will Howard, the 6th-round pick from 2025, is in the building. Mason Rudolph is in the building. They are all getting reps. They are all getting to know the offense. They are all getting to know Mike McCarthy. And Aaron Rodgers is still sitting at home without a signature on a contract. Now think back to what we said at the very beginning of this story. 3 deadlines missed. A contract move so rare it had not been used in 4 years. A 3rd-round quarterback taken in the draft. A new head coach learning his roster without his presumed starter. A report that Rodgers is not happy about the tender. And a May 18 date that the team believes will be when this finally gets resolved. This is not a typical offseason negotiation. This is something different. The Steelers have gone about their entire offseason as if Rodgers is coming back. They planned around him. They built around him. They took Aller in round 3 as a development piece, not as a replacement plan. They believe their best chance to finally win a playoff game after 10 years of trying is to have Aaron Rodgers under center for Mike McCarthy. And Aaron Rodgers has not given them the one thing they need most. An answer, May 18, is the next date on the calendar. OTAs start. The quarterback room takes shape, and somewhere in there, one of the most drawn-out quarterback situations in recent NFL history either gets resolved or gets a whole lot messier. The Steelers made their move. Now they are waiting again.